Hello everyone, it's your local real estate agent again, Brandon Barkema. In this video, I'm going to show you how to change out a three-way switch. So what this means is you have two switches that control one set of lights. Very common to have in a stairwell, which we're in right now. So we have a switch downstairs and a switch up here that controls the lights. So the main difference between this type of switch and just a single pole switch is the single pole, one switch controls all the lights. So this one, you actually have more wires, so it is a little bit more complicated. But this is a switch we're going to use. We're going to replace this old toggle switch with a modern switch. The three-way switches will have 3 terminals plus your ground. A single pole switch will only have 2 terminals plus the ground. But first things first, the tools we're going to need the switch. I have a pencil voltage tester, which you can get at Home Depot or your hardware store for around $20. It lets us know if the power's off, or if we have it on, which one is showing voltage. Mini wire strippers, definitely would need flathead screwdriver and likely a smaller tipped flathead screwdriver, and I have needle nose pliers as well. But first thing, we want to make sure the power's off, so we'll turn the power off at the breaker, and then we'll open this up and see what we have behind it. Alright, we have the power off at the breaker, so we'll open this up. Just take the wall plate cover off. Alright, let's see what we got back here. Alright, wall plate cover is off. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is take this pencil tester, turn it on, and if it has a solid beep, there's still energized. If there's no beep, like right now, it's not energized. So that noise is showing that the pencil tester is working, and I have a stand light in here so we can still see because it's dark without it. So, alright, so power is successfully turned off, so we're safe to work on this. It's just dead wires now. Of course, make sure if you do have somebody home with you, they don't go and turn the breaker back on while you're working on this. Ask me how I know. Alright, so these are a little more complicated. You have on the regular single pole switches, you just have the 2 terminals, usually 2 black wires, and it just turns on and off and turns your light on. This one, you have constant power, the one that goes to your light switch, and then the one that also goes to your other switch. So when you turn this on, you can go downstairs, flip the other way, and it'll turn it off. So the wire is called a runner wire. Usually it's the red wire, but we can't always be sure about that. Some people wire them up differently. My advice, what I found to be the easiest way when replacing these, so you don't have to go and turn the breaker on and test which one's which, is change them out one at a time. And if you look, we have black, brass, and on the other side, another brass wire. So, and then your ground. So what I recommend trying first before we get into testing all this stuff is just to copy what we have here. So, the black wire is going to be this one, and then your runner wires are going to be the other ones. So we'll start by taking this one off. This one should be the constant hot. We'll plug that in here and do the rest. So one thing to note, if you've watched any other videos, you'll see what I'm saying, but on here, these use compression pins to hold the wire in. Rather than screwing them onto the terminal, they just go into this little hole and they're held on that way. So you can see it doesn't come out. The trick to getting these off, if you don't have a small enough screwdriver, I'm using I think it's a leather punch actually, but anyway, it works really well. But a small screwdriver you can push in there and then it will decompress it, you can pull it out. If you don't have that option, you can cut them, strip the wire again, and reuse it. It's a little less work to do it this way, so what I'm going to do is I'll push this in the slot, pull the wire out just like that. So very easy to do. Now I don't want to take all of them off because then they may get mixed up, so we'll start with one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to match it. So the brass one on this corner, I'm going to put this wire back on. These ones also have a little hole that you can just shove the wire in and it'll compress itself. If that doesn't work, you can stick them in here and tighten it down, but if you have wire that's too thick. So, like this one, these must be, oh, there we go. So they should be the right wire. Do the same thing with the bottom one. So I'll push this in, pull that wire out. And this, you gotta be careful, it's this top one here is the left one. This bottom one is for this one here. So one more. I know they're not all on the right side, but so this one's on the bottom, this one's on the top, but it should be the same thing. They're both runner wires. So we'll shove that one in there, and as you can see, they don't come back out. Now, for the ground wire, it's just a screw. You can use a Phillips, but I just grab a flathead because it works for all of them. Alright, so we'll loosen that, pull it off. And this is why you either want wire strippers, or if you don't have wire strippers, pair of needle nose pliers just to straighten all this out. So what I'm going to do is just, that was the tester turning off automatically. So I'm going to basically get that. And what the secret to these, again, if you watch any of my other videos, you'll know, but you want to make sure that you're screwing this on clockwise. So when you screw it, it's going this way. What it does is that screw will grab the end of this here, and it will tighten it. If you go the other way, as you're tightening it, if you put it on this way, as you tighten it, it'll pull this piece out and away. So if you're using these terminals or this one, any of them, clockwise. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So what we do is we stick that on there. And we're going to tighten this down. You may not have a ground wire on your outlet or your switch. You should have them on your outlets. You may not have a ground wire on your switch, but it's probably back in the box back here. So what you're going to want to do is fish that out or pull that out so you can ground it. It's just a safety thing. It doesn't make the switch work or not work if you have it, but it keeps people from getting electrocuted should there be a short. So it's a safety aspect. Good to have. Alright, so we're about tight. Give it another cinch down. That's on there tight, just like that. Now, on the front, I don't know if you can read it, it's kind of hard, but right in the top corner, top left corner here, it says top. And that's usually the top is where the ground is at the top. But anyway, it says top, and what that does is on these switches it lets you know like up is on, down is off. On these three-way switches they will get reversed, so if I have up here, the downstairs one may be down, but if I turn that one on and this one's up, you can't have three-way switches where they're all on and off. But anyway, just get in the habit if you are changing them out, put the top up or the ground wire up. And also what I like to do is, since these, once it's turned on, all these terminals will be energized, I like to cinch them down just so they're not sticking out. I know a lot of people don't, but I just like to do that. It keeps them closer to the body of it, which means there's less things that'll could possibly touch it, which it shouldn't matter, but I have seen this ground wire is bare, and if it touches one of these terminals it will short out and trip your breaker. So if you do have a problem with your breaker tripping after putting these in, either you wired it up wrong or your ground wire is touching something. But anyway, we're going to screw this guy back in. And if you have, like this outlet box is back probably about ½ an inch or so from the drywall, so it's not flush. They put it in when they install it. They install a little far back. When they cut the drywall out, it's cut pretty tight though, so these metal tabs will stay on it. If not, they do make plastic spacers that you can get where your wing nuts would be and other electrical items at your hardware store. And you can put those in the back to space it out farther so it looks nice when you're done. Some people will take these tabs here and they'll bend them in with some pliers to pull this outlet out. I don't like doing that. I like using these guys if I need to, and you just clasp them on themselves and you can see it gets thicker. Tear it off. They go on the screws behind there which push against this, and that'll keep it tight. But for this case, it looks pretty tight already. And now all we need to do is put on our cover plate and turn the power on. So I'll go turn the power on and we'll see what we got. Alright, so cover plate on. And I like to finish on with the screw going vertically on all of them. Kind of OCD a little bit, but anyway. The idea when you're done is the wall plate sits flush with the wall, and this is just about flush, sticks out maybe just a little bit right there, but it's all even. So just like that. We turn the breaker on, the lights work, go downstairs, and then they should turn off. Alright, so that works perfectly. Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for watching, and if you have any suggestions or you want to see something done, maybe you have a project coming up, send it my way and I'll see if I can make a video of it to help you out. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, and if you need anything real estate related, give me a call.